for discussion on a lot of these things. I guess the number one topic we wanted to talk about was the river trail, and the river trail is pretty much completed from one end to the other end as far as stoning the trail. I did get a check from the visitor bureau for Senate this Saturday, Monday, I think they got it Wednesday, and we had, I think we still got maybe $100 or $200 left out of the 8,100, but I have, I think 6 loads of stone left after the trail's completely done, and I put in probably right now 6 to 7 campsites with the stone. We have all the 6 loads left to do that. So, you know, we need to, if you have a favorite spot, you want to put a campsite or see a tent site or whatever, please mark it, because next week I'd like to get that finished up if we could and get it, you know, the stones spread out, because it really don't do any good there in a big top, you know. So, if that's one thing to keep in mind. The trail is stone from the bridge down here. We are going to put in a spot underneath the 522 bypass bridge to where you can pull a van in and get people out in a wheelchair and have a nice little area for them to actually fish off the bank. I said something to the visitors here about this, and they right away said, well, you better check with the handicap accessible walls in Pennsylvania, and does it have to be a hard surface? Does it have to be this? And I said, well, we're not going to check with none of that. We're going to put stone down, and you know, it's better than trying to get through the weeds. You know, we don't have the money to wire in concrete in the area or whatever it's going to take to do that. So that's one thing that I have 2 loads of stone down there at the other end, and I'd like to do with this creative spot to where we can, you know, get the handicapped people down along the river and maybe they can catch fish. Other than that, the trail was solid. I actually got the kayakers from Pine Street cleaned down. We drove down underneath the old river bridge in Mount Union and turned around, and we dumped the stone on the way back up through. So it's really solid out through there. Obviously, if you get rain like we did today, it'll probably be muddy, you know. But all in all, it looked really good. So does anybody have any questions about the trail, or what's everybody's opinion on it?
No, but I got one, I guess it's the city council president that was involved with you.
Yeah.
'Cause I told her, because you guys do it too early in the morning, that I would, I would repaint the bridge, the benches if you got me the paint.
Okay.
Well, yeah, okay, and I told her to get a hold of me when you got the paint, now we're gonna do the benches and clean them and paint them.
Okay. That's great. Okay, that brings up.
I can do that at my own time. I don't have to be with you guys or you too early in the morning for me.
Okay, thank you. Sure appreciate that. And that brings up another thing that I wanted to talk about. I have a friend of mine that owns Blue Mountain Machine Shop in Fort Worth. They make all kinds of park benches, garbage can holders, all the state items. Okay, the metal items, the tire cover. He got me a price, and I didn't get to the office, I didn't think about it. He was giving me a price on 3 different park benches that you can put a plaque in the back of. The plaque would either be routed in out of a piece of 40 with whoever bought the bench with their name and whatever they want to put on the plaque. So we want to get these benches out to everybody that we could sell these benches. They're not going to be $59.99. I think they're going to cost approximately $1,000 for the bench, plus the engraving. But I think there's people out here who will buy benches, and we can take them down there, and we can concrete them in, and they'll have the person's name on them who donated the bench to the Riverwalk in Mount Union. And I'll try to have that all ready for Wednesday night, that we can bring that to the council meeting and kind of pass it out. And I think that could be not a fundraiser. I think it could be something to get more people involved in the Riverwalk. So, anybody have an opinion on that?
That'd be awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Carol? Sounds like a plan.
Isn't there money in council that's set aside for parks and recreation that we could tap into for those funds to get him the paint that he needs to do that?
What do you say? You had a
We-
couple
we-
$100.
We got paint, we got money to do that. We raised our fundraiser here for the Riverwalk. Now, we eat some of the money, you know, we had hot dogs and hamburgers. And we're gonna have another picnic here a little bit later on, but, we have money to buy paint. I think we started out with almost $900 and some dollars, and, you know, that's what we used it for, you know. So, yeah, but I'm thinking on the park bench side would be to get people to donate this.
Yeah.
And I really think that they will. These park benches are really nice. You know, they're powder coated. There's a couple different options. So I'll try to get that. Mitch was going to email to me. He said I'd have it by day, and I was in Harrisburg. I don't know the chat.
I know if you go to some places around the area, like if you go to Walmart and tell them about our project here, and you give them a paper with a heading on it that says Riverwalk Trail, they might be willing to donate or sponsor a bench. Same with the Wise Store or General Dollar, places like that. They do things like that. All you have to have is like a letterhead that explains to them what we're doing. They might be willing to donate a bench with their name on it.
Yeah, that's a good thing. The Miami Wise Store donated. You know, if we concrete in the ground and somebody can't pick it up, seal it, we're more apt to do that than if we set it there and let's look down the river the next time we walk. You know. And we can be very selective of where we put our benches too. We want to put them on the highest point. They might never, can't say they never get water on them, but at least they'll be on high enough where they'll get it washed away. We have one that we need, there's days to make that one that's smashed, that tree that
The what?
the bench center that smashed, that was smashed a year or two
The
ago.
metal one?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the wooden ones that are yellow and.
Yeah. Right.
There's 3 of them, that I saw.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any other ideas? Then we can,
I do like the idea. I'm not sure why. I'll find out how they went with the meeting down at Green Street. We need to, that needs cleaned up. The Wallfield can take care of that, and we can pull everything that the borough has out of that. And I'm not sure why we couldn't have some kind of accountability for growth down there, so far as the borough is concerned.
well, we need to develop that. I don't care how you cut the pie, whether it's a or, I sooner see to be, the rules and regulations are going to come from the borough. It's their problem, okay? Maybe, a committee could be formed from our group of the Riverwalk people to help maybe maintain and keep it clean up. I don't know. If we get enough information. So what's your thought about that? Anything?
Yeah, I would say with the paint, I know when I painted the Mount Union baseball down there, that Lowe's donated $500 of paint. I think the True Value Outlet Wazonia donated paint. So for those things, you could go and ask them, and I know Lowe's they'll give you a lot of stuff.
Okay, that was another thing out of Wednesday night ride where we took some of the people off the river and we rode the trail from one end to the other end. The pier down underneath the bridge at the bypass has got all kinds of graffiti all over it and from top to bottom. And they said they were painting that. And I think that would be a good idea to incorporate that into maybe not your deal, but that whole bridge needs to be painted to take that graffiti off there.
So we get the art guild to possibly paint murals down there as opposed to graffiti. You know, we have an art guild here in Mount Union.
Right.
They might be going to go down there and paint murals down there, something that coincides with Mount Union.
Yeah,
Trojans
that would be
or
nice.
something.
Yeah, I think if anything like that, or that's another group that we can get interested. We also have bridge piers that could be painted really, really nice on the old bridge coming in. As you're walking the trail, you can look and see the mural, and there's 2 piers there. You can stand on dry land. And that would be another thing that we could bring up. You know. Go ahead, Henry. You want to-
I'm working with Cheryl Marino to get trail signs would really encourage and promote, boost further use on the trail. And with use on hiking trails, with use comes maintenance. And also, it may be more to ever get bathrooms down there. The more people you have who are using that area, the more likely it is that vandalism will be spotted. So, I think that those trail signs could be really big, really important to that trail.
Nobody gave you most of those footages.
We already had, he went down and measured the trail out before we even started, so we have all the distances and everything. We do have signage already at the church that says Riverwalk Trail. There's a real nice sign at the church. And I think there's one at,
At the other end.
The other end.
At the parking lot there, across from Chestnut Street.
Yeah, okay, there's one down there. So, here's another thing I brought up with Tim, and I'll throw it out to you guys and see what your thoughts are on it. Dolan Leonard works for Corey Sistos, which is, has some handicapped people, people that's not able to get out and walk like we do every day. And she was, the recreation end of things, they want to go down along the river, they like to go fishing, and this is quite possible. So I got stone dropped underneath the bridge down here, and I want to put a flat parking area in that would be accessible, that we could run a van to it, and they can get them out, and they can, you know, have a flat area along the river. If they want to go fishing, they could do that. It'll be close enough. So we was talking to Tim here, and he was saying about walking the trail off, and so that we can't get cars, which is, I think, a good idea. We don't want cars, we don't want four-wheelers and things like that on. But we also want the trail, if somebody is hurt, like Tom decided he was going to pass out on us a couple Saturdays ago, so that way we can get an ambulance in and take him a ride. You know? Thank God, there's nothing wrong with him, he said. So, but anyway, we need to keep that in mind. But I was saying to Tim, if we would open up that green gate with maybe a lock system to where Corey's, they could buy a key, or we could have keys for handicapped placard vans only. Okay, I don't think we would be discriminating. It would have to be for placard vans only. You know? And then we could go down and we could maybe make the trail, put some kind of an arrow spot in to where you can't drive from there up to the boat launch, you know, on the trail. You can only go to that point. That's something that the council needs to talk about, but I think that we need to talk about it here as well, so we can help council decide what they want to do. So, give me your opinions.
I'm ready to see you all right.
Yeah.
I was asking you.
So this for
I think it was your sugar, wasn't it?
let them in is have a key code lock. I mean, combination lock, and you can give it to the right parties the combination.
Yeah, I think that the lock system, I don't know, the lock, I need locks to keep myself, and I think the lock system would be nice to the point where at least the band deserve to be there as a key. I don't know, I think we can talk about it. I don't really have the answer to that. I think that's, and also the trail is hard enough to surface if you want to take your electric scooter and go from one end to the other end. I'm not sure about going up the hill, but you can go from ridge to the foot of the hill right here with any electric wheelchair or whatever, and you're going to be fine. The surface is, you know, hard. Joe, you said they're going to look like you're scared me.
Don't be scared. I ain't scared.
You want to give me your opinion?
I think, in terms of this community, period, anything that's positive and will help the community is needed. I'm down for any and everything right now, because nothing's happening in the city.
Good. That's our opinion.
I was thinking that for because we do a Junior River Blueprint Community. We do that 5K now. We're going to do it monthly. We have it scheduled every month. So maybe we could tie the Riverwalk into something like that. Because we're going to be like a running community with that. That's what we're going for this whole 5K, one a month. And I know that attendance is 20 or 30, starting out. So maybe we could get some kind of monthly run or some kind of marketing to get people to use that trail.
Okay, so the visitor bureau has indicated they want to use the before video, which you supply, they want to use the finished video, if you're going to supply. But they want to use that for marketing, and they also want to put it on their paperwork and kind of tie it in with the guidance steps to where if you're walking that trail, you can come out and you can do the river walk, which is good. It's going to bring a lot more people there. And I think that's all positive too. The chamber is actually in the process of cutting the river cutting things down here. We would like to invite, obviously, the county commissioners and some other people around the community to come and visit. And at that time, we could probably have side to side everything, whoever went in the other end, if they didn't want to walk it. Daryl, any comments?
No, I was just saying about, like what Patrick was saying about sponsoring like a run on that trail to bring attention to it, say like the grand opening of it, introduce it to everybody, know that it exists. Like on a Saturday, have a run from one starting point to the finish line and advertise it, blow it up so people will know it's there.
How many is it there to
How
see?
about doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, how can we go about doing that, promoting that run, that initial run? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Kathy, we were talking about this last meeting, it wasn't here, we were talking, she said on Halloween, they want to do the haunted Riverwalk Trail. I'll probably wear that the first Halloween, that would be interesting. So that might be something that, go from the boat launch up to Pine Street or wherever. So, but why couldn't something like that be done on the ribbon cutting ceremony weekend or whatever, and do something for the kids that if you go from here, you go part way and you get this, and if you go here, you get this, and if you go completely into the trail, you get this. We can get some kind of a little trinket item for the kids, and they would have a blast. And I think that would get the people and the children involved. If the children like it, the parents are going to have to take it to the road.
Yeah.
Because there are two ways about it. So, it might be a way to drag some people in there. And I think any parent that walks up and down that, they like the outdoors at all, they're going to love it. Because it's really,
The whole thing's only a mile and a half.
yeah, right.
So what's the next upcoming holiday? Is that Memorial Day coming up?
Yeah, that's the end of the month.
End of the month.
I don't think
So let's say you have those spots that you put out there, right? And remember how you used to have that thing in the street up here, you close the streets off and people sold their wares and stuff?
Yeah.
Those 10 spots that you have now, why don't we say that people can do things there? Like you were selling jewelry at one time. Somebody could sell something else. But just to get it, like I said, publicized, so people know that it is down there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna put tents up just yet, then they can see it. Come down and see that someone's selling this here. I mean, I don't know, just chocolate chip cookies or something, or Girl Scout cookies, or at the different locations that you put out there. Because Shauna said it looks really nice. At those spots, you put the rocks out there. And at that time, we probably could do something like that for upcoming holiday.
Yes, there's a lot to be done. I mean, there's the size of one, for sure.
Yeah. But see, I'm saying, like right now, we got like 13 people here. It's kind of disappointing, show. But I think if we start showing like the name you just said with the Mountain Riverwalk Trail. I mean, if we start promoting that more, I think we could come down here.
Yeah, they'll do some, but we probably want to do a lot of our own. Also, I'm thinking a good promotion would be for Junior Valley, Junior Valley Behavioral Health. Juniata Blueprint Community, we're going to do a dusk run in October. So that would tie whoever's doing Halloween. I think that would be a really big pitch because it gives us time, like a month. We'll need a couple months to plan for it. But if we're doing a dusk run, we could do glow sticks on the trail or something. Maybe we can join up with the Railroad Museum. Because I'm just envisioning like an Easter egg hunt. Like you do so many things on that mile and a half. I don't know any, well, there is no community in Huntington County that has that, but.
Yeah, there's no community that got 30 acres of river money, so it doesn't mind any that I know of. Yeah, and it's amazing. And then the way it's divided up, you do 3 different events at one time. You can go from Vine Street up, you can go from Vine Street down to the old river bridge, you go from the old river bridge down to the boat launch, and then from the boat launch down to the other river, you know.
Then you have Grace Church with the parking lot right there, so that's perfect.
Yeah, it is, and there's so much that can be done.
So yeah, maybe we want to plan for the Halloween one, like just to get something concrete to work for. Maybe we should plan for Halloween.
I think that's a good idea. We could probably try to assemble that if we have another town hall next month. We was talking about ending the town halls at the end, you know, when the election was. If we want to continue to, you know, use this Monday night, which is a good idea, I think that we could also start planning on what we're going to do with it. And a ribbon cutting and whatever. Okay, if we don't have any more on that, we are going to try to have a work party in Knoxville when. And then next Saturday is not good for me because that's our airport breakfast, I'll be there. But the following Saturday, if we wanted to, we could probably try to schedule a work day. Or if it suits anybody, we could do it throughout the week in the evening to get these tents up. So it shouldn't take that long. If I get Ron to drive the dump truck, which is, I'm having a problem doing. Okay, I guess the only candidate we have for council would be John, right?
Kaylee.
Yeah.
My dad.
Well, Daisy, is there anything you'd like to say to the group?
The only thing I really want to say is I'm working on a yard sale for the library. It's going to be here at the end of June, the 26th to the 28th. If you have any donations, just call me. There's a flyer on the library Facebook page with my phone number, and you can either drop it off at my house or I'll come get it and figure it out. Or if you want to help, or if you have any ideas, just let me know.
Okay, so what I've told them is out there, the red room is just the room coming in to the left up here. They can put their stuff in. It's not really interfere with any functions we have in here. And it would be kind of their room to have their yard sale until it's over. And go from there. Shannon, do you want to say anything?
Not really, but I will. As you all know, I'm running again for third term. It's no big deal. Simply because I'm still there. In addition to that, there is a block party in the planning stage right now. If you all was here at the last meeting, Smokey, who's the hairdresser in the community, had talked about block party that we had years ago, where we did block off this street. So we're just trying to see the logistics right now in terms of how we're going to do it. Cheryl was instrumental in the Mount Airy partnership that happened, 3 or 4 years ago. Cheryl worked hard and went very well. Again, I'll give her kudos for even pulling it off. She did a lot of work. So we're just trying to formulate something with information to be coming.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Another thing that Tim brought to my attention here that might be helpful to him was the patrolling and what's the activity on the river wall. He was asking me for counsel, do we have any ideas that we can pass on to all things that council's gonna have to think about, and we as the citizens can help council think about it. So, if anybody has any ideas or thoughts on permitting, my thought is that a little permit, that we give a card that says permit, that the guy drives by, you want to go to the pen to look at it, and say that their permit's good till the end of the week. So if we don't have a permit, like the guy underneath the river bridge, then we can ask him to remove his tent and either go buy a permit or keep on going. I think it's gonna help double-handed. So maybe I'll pass the mic around the room. Anybody that has any comments, whatever you think, Tim can take some notes. He can pass it on to council and we'll go from there.
And I guess one of the things, if you don't want motorized vehicles, you put up signs that no ATVs, no motorcycles, because you can't just say motorized, because you're wanting the wheelchairs to go.
Yeah.
But specify which vehicles are not permitted, and then there's no excuse that they get caught.
Well, we probably could put all handicap vehicles allowed. We're authorized. Huh? We're authorized. Huh? Go ahead, Joe.
Unauthorized vehicles are.
Yeah.
I would encourage everybody here, and some that's not here, to continue to come to the council meetings. As well, I would encourage you all to see what's happening with the water authority. With no manager in place, there's a lot of money being, I'm put it like this, borrowed. There's a whole lot of money being borrowed that, even myself as a council person is really not aware of. So, with all that we're doing here, and there's only one council person here, we need to do due diligence and pay attention to the other goings-on in this community, basically because the infrastructure is falling apart, bottom line. And if you don't want to discuss it, if the council people don't want to be straight up about it, we're all going to be suffering some more if we don't get it together. With no manager in place, money being spent, to me, for things that aren't important, we have to get it together. And that's not necessarily a warning. This is just to expose some information. Our infrastructure is falling apart, period. I've been saying this for the last 5 years.
You good? We'll pass the mic.
Yeah, I'm just ready to see what we do, what we get done, and, everything we're doing so far is great, so let's just keep it up. I mean, every idea sounded great, so if we can implement, all of our ideas, that would be amazing. So, and if we can get some more people in here and, get some more people to help, I think that would be good too. So I don't know what we need to do to, get more people to come and be involved, but hopefully we can make some type of, we have to do something, flyers, something more to attract, more people to come to, these meetings, the borough meetings, we just have to do something more, something other than just us sitting here, every Monday, so.
First and foremost, I want to thank the wife for donating a lot of his time and equipment for being down here. Everybody does that. Anybody else that came in with us a bit of financial burden on the community or council or borough. White, I want to thank you first and foremost. I think more people appreciate your time and effort to put in down there. Like Sean was saying, we got to come up with a plan. This small community, like I said, I think
anything that says, most time people come out, there's friction going on. And that's not what we need. We need to be more cohesive, come together and work between this town meeting and going to present our projects to the borough council and work in unison. You know, we can't fight against each other like Joan just brought to our attention. Without a borough manager, you know, a lot of things are misappropriated. There's no real structure, no leadership. If you don't have leadership, you have a lot of discord going on. You know what I mean? So I think what council has to do is lead us. Like I said, we go to council and we go through a lot of. I think a lot of things just go back wayside. Sean said we gotta start coming with these meetings and showing interest at the council meetings and voicing our opinion. So once again, our dream won't be stuck in a dismal state. We can move forward. We're stagnant here. And that's what I said. We can try and promote this Riverwalk Trail to bring people here, like we said, 1,000 steps a day. That will get them down to here. We gotta really promote this thing, put time and effort to put into it. We don't want it to be like by next year it's just worn and overgrown and stuff. This is something that will help not move the road. You guys are
We have a goal, April next year, to get a borough manager, we want DCD to pay 75% of the first year's salary. So time is running short. I want to say that I've come to figure out that the real obstacle that Maine has ran into for many years and across multiple generations of borough council is that there is an inability to separate our personal feelings regarding someone from the good that that person does or the policies that they have put forth that would, if they were approved and followed through on, would actually benefit the town and not you. So it's like, I'm not voting for you, you know why? Because I didn't like your sister. You know what? I don't like your cousin either. So why in the heck? I mean, you're talking about replacing the sewer lines, but you know what? I can't stand your sister. In fact, I'm going to stab her. So I know what I live for. And that's the problem with That's Maggie's biggest obstacle. And so I brought with me a quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "I must stand with anybody that stands right. Stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong." I want to say that again for emphasis and also to make sure that everyone heard it. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is wrong, and part with him when he goes wrong. And more to Jim's point, the infrastructure in that union is crumbling, and there are multiple, and I've counted them. There are multiple safety issues in this borough that need to be addressed, and should have been addressed a long time ago. And they need to stop being ignored by borough council. Borough council needs to step up. The people that are running for borough council, if you're not willing to step up, if you're not willing to put personal feelings aside about whether you like somebody or not like somebody, and that's going to be the basis of whether you vote for something or don't vote for it, man, doesn't need any more of that. It's overrun movie and it needs to stop, it needs to end now. And I have, by election day, May 20th, I will have knocked on the door of every registered voter in Macon Borough and all 3 wards. And I can frustration with Borough Council was high. I mean, they have had it up to here with Borough Council.
Is that why we got so many of them here running for council seats?
I mean, I knocked on some guy's door about alcohol. And I mentioned Borough Council, and he said, "Oh, no son of a gun, no son of a gun," and started yelling at me. I mean, he didn't say son of a gun, he said something else. And he was yelling at me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm not yelling at you," and I said, "I understand." But he had a very visceral reaction. And if you think that the frustration with Borough Council is bad now, you wait until these infrastructure issues come more to light. They become more prevalent as things break down. So, just something to think about for people who are running.
I have something else I want to add. Back in June's council meeting, there was one council member, two of them in fact, said, "Why do we need a borough manager? Think they're running so smoothly." And then they used to get their head out of the sand. And the mayor said, "Well, I haven't set nine bosses, you can't have a borough manager. There's a borough manager." The mayor is here tonight, and he can ask me if he wants to, but I have it written down in the June meeting. You cannot run a ship without a captain. You just don't do it. A little kid 10 years old can figure this out.
Yeah, I just do want to say, I've heard a couple times about how small this group is. So I'm in, there's 50 different groups. And I've seen groups of 5 people raise millions of dollars. So don't think this is not actually a good sized group, that they're becoming regular. And I get to hear the story of all these groups that, do great things and raise a lot of money. And every one of the story wasn't 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. Like, I can't believe when we started meeting a few months ago, we already got a river trail done. An amazing thing. Take, for example, Junior River Blueprint, that took, I think, 8 years, and this is all county officials that were meeting, and everyone thought it was dead, and then, it just took a long time, 10 years. The Huntington Farmers Market, everyone thinks, "Oh, wow, it's great, look where it's at now." That took 15 years of just dedication and work. So don't be disheartened. I think we've done a lot of good things already in a short amount of time. And for, I think, the original question here, I think you should think about some kind of fee. It don't have to be very much, but in policing, you want to have some kind of fee, a monetary, it'll give it more teeth. It gives the law more teeth. So I think like a weekly $10 or $20, something like that. And then I'm picturing maybe consult the borough and get like a permitting stick. Say every campsite has a mount, and you can mount green signs so the police can see it easily from a distance. Hey, look, I can see these are baited up. So it's just something a visual, so they don't have to go into their campsite or anything like that. You can see it from 50 yards away. So that's just some ideas about that. But I think definitely the permitting, not only for the legal side of it, but also for the maintenance side. Maybe that money can go into a maintenance fund for the trail. So I think that would be some good ideas for the borough.
Get to defend yourself, man. Give it to them.
Now, I think the big thing that has been said a million times is public feedback is what we need. I've talked to him tonight, and I'll continue to talk to him. I agree, a small fee is nothing. But the thing is, I think you guys need to come up with what rules we play by, how it benefits everybody, gives us some traction to keep it nice, and we need to work together. You got talent. You got your talent. Everybody has a talent that they add in. If you had 40 people instead of 13, the talent would increase. it's funny because people have changed so much. I'm a porch setter. I look up and down my street, nobody sits on porches anymore. If I was in Huntington and I had to go somewhere, we always went over the parks. And I think to myself, Huntington is a big town. There's only 5 or 6 kids here. And I'm not sure how we get the public to get into this, and it's good. Get out of the house. The trails. Halloween would be awesome. That's a pretty time of the year in the fall. But the other thing is somebody brought up what I agree with. I don't know why everything takes 35 years to come about.
They don't hear. We get something in our mind, it happens next month.
Dreams die if you take too long.
Excuse me. Can you ask him how long he's been the mayor?
Pardon me?
She wanted to ask how long you been the mayor?
16 years.
In Mount Union?
Yes.
Lord have mercy. Jesus.
Seen a lot of good, a lot of bad. There's a lot of good people in this town. A lot. A lot of talent.
And you know, the good thing is, and I've seen it right here in this meeting, Darrell can contest it. It's like, the first meeting we had 3 times as many people. 55 people. 55 people. And this person didn't talk to that person. They didn't know they didn't like each other, you know. So we had, after the first meeting, we had a glass of wine. Nathan decided that we needed wine because he was getting an alcohol permit. We had a glass of wine, we sat at this table and that table over there. And at the end of the night, we didn't drink a whole bunch, just a couple sips of wine. That person was talking to this person, they were sitting here talking to each other. And they figured out that they really didn't dislike each other, but they thought they did. You know, and I think that we need to take constructive criticism a little bit. You know, if somebody says something about you, you don't run and put the tail between your legs and say, you know, I'm not gonna do it. You look at what they said, am I doing this right or am I doing it wrong? You know, how am I thinking about it? And I think that's what we need to do. We need to help each other get ourselves to a better position.
That's the only way to grow.
Right.
First thing we need to do is compensate. Have some dialogue.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
We disagree to agree.
Even the borough council don't even communicate.
No,
How do you want to do that?
And that's the whole problem with council. We can't talk about it. Come on, guys, let's hash it out. And at least here, we can hash out some of these ideas, like I said about the Riverwalk, the rules, the regulations, and all this stuff. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but if we bring it up and we talk about it, and everybody likes it, it must be right. You know,
Well,
so
they have a
that's-
tendency to go on social media and be rude and disrespectful.
Right.
And that's not good. So let's keep it 100, keep it real.
So anyway, we want to keep it positive, that's for sure. And we definitely want to get out and vote on the May 20th. I don't think we have anybody running in competition here. At least we'll cast our vote and see what we can do. There you go.
I got a couple more thoughts just from the comments that are going around. One, the block party idea, instead of having it here on this dead block of empty stores, have it down in the pavilions at the park and near the Riverwalk, and promote the Riverwalk at the same time with the block party.
Yeah,
That
that
would make a
can't
community.
be mine.
Yeah, that would be good. And one of the things positive about the permits, if somebody damages the site, you have their information, but also, you need to have, any camping, good camping, I mean, that was in the whole region for a while, and it's like, whatever you bring in, you take with you, it's still, you need to have some garbage cans or facilities or something for the people. I mean, I don't know if you thought about it, but if you have people camping and you don't want to dig in a hole somewhere behind a bush, you need to have porta potties or something down there too.
I think the porta potties are there, you have to walk a little bit the distance, so I don't know whether porta potties could be placed at, we have access to Pine Street if we get camping. I got maybe a porta potty at Pine Street, down at the bottom of the hill, it could be accessible for the truck to come in. That can be talked about. And the money generated from the campsites to help pay for the porta potties, so it's not taking anything out of the council or the borough, out of their pay.
Yeah, and I was talking about that more for the campers than the hikers.
But Nathan has something to say, and I got one other thing I wanted to bring up for Jim.
So, you know, I've been at my parents' house for almost 2 years now, and I have to say that it's offensive to people who drive at high rates of speed through this town. And it really, really, really ticks me off. They have no respect for the safety of others. They have no respect for our laws. And they have no respect for their own safety. And it happens in certain parts of town. I mean, I was on South Division Street out here where the borough goes into Hill Valley, and I talked to 2 different residents they were like, well, we lived here our lot. We lived on this end of Division Street our lives. I lived there for 60 years. So the speeding going into Hill Valley and coming from Hill Valley into the borough has always been at a high rate of speed. And then I talked to Kathy Wilson and Steve Pacheco, who live on Division Street, and they said, well, there's wrecks all the time. Or at the intersection, you know, the corner that they live on, but then also the streets around those intersections that are still on Division Street.
Nathan, you may correct it. Pick up the phone call. Not at our town hall meeting. Thank you. Okay?
Well, I wanted to say that
Make it positive. Okay?
all right, I have a solution.
Okay.
I would like to see the mayor include speeding tickets and parking tickets in his monthly reports.
That's a good idea.
We can do that. Okay, anybody else? One thing I wanted to bring up about your block party thing, just a comment that kind of entered my mind when you said about doing different things on the Riverwalk. So if we took the Riverwalk from, if you're going to use the park, so if you went down the old boat launch to the bridge, and you come up and go back to the boat launch, that's not that far. So we kind of developed little spots along there, go down 10 spots. If you could get people to go down there and we could take, maybe get a golf cart or something, they can haul their stuff down, and you could have little different little spots. People could walk that trail, but as they're walking the trail, they could possibly buy some jewelry or some lemonade or a cookie or something like that. And that would get people to make the circle. So that's just a thought for you.
I like that, because we used to do, we used to have vendor here once a week every Saturday for like 2 or 3 months at the Riverwalk, and it went very well. So, I like that idea.
And then you could go back and do hot dogs and hamburgers underneath the pavilion or something if you wanted to do there. Okay. All right, back to it.
Oh, we'll mention there is, what was Colonial Days? What, was that in September or? What was our original, Colonial Days, our big event every year?
What's that?
Down at the Schlar House, our big event that we used to have.
That was
Canal Day?
Yeah, Canal Day.
Now they- they're-
Yeah, so that ended a few years ago, but this year, Matt Price is gonna bring the Boy Scouts down, and we're gonna have a Canal Day event again this year. So we're trying to bring that back while other communities are coming to our community and help us bring it back. But so we wanna do, events at Schroer House and then possibly at Gibbon Park, so we try to
For
tie
this
them.
year?
For this year, yeah. So Matt Price and the Boy Scouts are, I guess they're gonna camp there, so it's not gonna be like Canal Day, but they wanna have vendors and stuff around there, maybe shut down the street.
Well, should we partnership with that or what?
We should, yeah, that's why I was bringing that up. We should definitely partner with them. Matt definitely wants to partner. He comes to the Junior River Blueprint, so we can talk to him about it, but he's the one who brought it up and said, hey, I hope Mountain Union can collaborate and let's bring this back. And he wants to kind of get the Boy Scouts back in Mount Union, so we get like a leadership. And then also I want to say about the drive there coming out of Hill Valley. So if you remember, the borough did remove the cars from that road. If you don't have anything calming traffic, you could give out 1,000 speeding tickets. It's not going to slow people down. So I always said the car is actually calming. You would lose a couple meters, but it was a calming effect. But so Alexandria Borough, what they just did with Judy Scott, she just got, I think it's $1 million from PennDOT. But they're going to do, she filed for a grant, and she's going to do jut outs, you know, where it comes out and you got grass and you have parking spots in between the grass areas. But those look nice, and what they are is they're calming. So if you have that wide road, you're always going to have high traffic. You got to have some kind of calming, either parking or jut outs or something. That's the only way to fix that. But Alexandria's looking beautiful. I got to see the blueprints for it. It's going to be amazing.
I want to emphasize that I like her idea, and State College has some things that they use for traffic calming measures, and it's not that I think that in the mayor including the number of parking tickets and traffic tickets per month and a reporter are going to fix all. If you start handing out tickets, I think it's probably multiple different things that need to be implemented to achieve the success that we're looking for. I'm not certain of what Patrick means by that. I do know that in State College on Beaver Avenue, there are areas where they have white along the road with stripes. So it makes it more narrow for each lane. And when it's more narrow, I believe studies show that that slows the speed of traffic.
Yeah.
So you're not moving the curve inwards towards traffic. You're just painting lines to take up that space that was there for parking. So people slow down then because they are trying to stay between the white lines. That's basically what I'm getting at. So I think that that's another thing that could be looked at.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Anything else we want to cover today? Just about out of gas. Tim, got anything else you want to say? Sorry? You have anything else you want to say? Okay. I guess if everybody's done, we'll call this adjourned for the meeting, and we'll see everybody Wednesday night, council meeting. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you for the cake.
Hey, Jim. I will say too, I got a couple messages for the people who didn't come tonight. There is some people want to watch it on, like Howard Brandt. They messaged and they said, "Hey, you're filming that, right? I want to watch it." So they couldn't make it, but they want to.
Good. Yeah, we had, Ron Leonard had a funeral, him and Dawn had to go to, I guess, Sharon, she brought the back the meeting, Steve had to work, I think. I don't know. I think it's just one of them, times a month, everybody has meetings. Appreciate everybody for coming, it's good. I think we've got a lot of good ideas. We'll definitely pass them on.
Did you ever see the perfect example of those little cut-off holidays parties? Man, they're pretty. And